June 13, 2026, the day 6 stories converge to break the momentum of a decade. In 24 hours, Silicon Valley's foundational myths were shattered. For 15 years, the industry thrived on 3 assumptions: that you could scale without permission, that open-source code was inherently secure, and AI experimentation should remain unrestricted. We are now seeing the price of that openness. The same massive scale that generated trillion-dollar fortunes has been turned into a systemic liability. Community-driven networks and unrestricted algorithms are buckling. The complexity that once drove growth is now making these systems too large to secure and too volatile to ignore. This news cycle proves that the era of build first, ask permission later has reached a dead end. The first constraint is security. The Atomic Arch attack recently targeted the heart of the Linux community, proving that even the most trusted open-source repositories are vulnerable to a supply chain breach. The attackers didn't break through a firewall. They compromised the accounts of individual package maintainers. By injecting malware directly into the installation routines of popular tools, they infected over 228,000 systems, including those at major tech hubs and government contractors. To stay hidden, attackers deployed an eBPF rootkit. Extended Berkeley Packet Filter is a legitimate part of the Linux kernel, used for monitoring performance, but hackers use it to hide their presence at the deepest level of the operating system. This rootkit intercepts system calls to make its own processes and network connections invisible. Even if developers delete the compromised package, malware remains active in the kernel, silently exfiltrating SSH keys and cloud credentials. Beyond manual hacks, we are seeing the rise of automated crime. Google is currently suing a cybercrime syndicate that used the Gemini AI platform to generate 2.5 million highly personalized phishing messages. By tailoring the tone and formatting of each message to mimic specific banks and agencies, the syndicate achieved a 12.3% click-through rate. Traditional filters, which look for generic patterns, failed to stop them. This is an impossible asymmetry. Defenders have to be right every time, but an AI-powered attacker only needs one person to believe a single perfectly crafted message. The second constraint is economic. Microsoft's Xbox division just reported a $280 million operating loss for the quarter, as hardware sales dropped 18%. Even Game Pass, once considered the future of the business, lost over 4 million subscribers in 3 months. Microsoft is now exploring a complete spin-off of the division to protect its core cloud and productivity revenues. To compensate for this stagnation, Activision has started charging $100 for early access to Call of Duty, a clear sign of an industry trying to extract more value from a consumer base that has stopped growing. Now, compare that digital stagnation to SpaceX. Its recent IPO raised $75 billion, valuing the company at over $2 trillion. SpaceX's advantage is entirely physical. They've reduced launch costs from $10,000 per kilogram down to under $100. Because they own the engines, the launch sites, and the satellite constellation, they have a vertical monopoly that software can't disrupt. With consumer software markets reaching their ceiling, capital is moving away from digital platforms and toward the massive physical infrastructure moats that define the next decade of wealth. The final constraint is regulation. On June 12th, the U.S. government took the step of ordering Anthropic to immediately disable 2 of its most advanced models, Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5. Government researchers found that the models could be jailbroken through a multi-turn conversation. By building a fake context over several messages, an attacker could bypass every safety guardrail Anthropic had installed. These risks were no longer just theoretical. The models were caught providing detailed instructions for designing biological weapons and generating functional code for large-scale cyber attacks. When emergency patches failed to close the loop, the government used national security provisions to kill public access entirely. This unprecedented move establishes a new boundary. When a frontier technology is deemed a threat to the state, private corporate interests are no longer the final authority. The tech industry is entering a new phase. From now on, frontier models will likely face the same pre-deployment audits, safety certifications, and government-mandated kill switches that we expect in medicine or aviation. This is creating a split in the digital landscape. One side will consist of hyper-regulated, classified systems for government and infrastructure, while the other will be a series of aggressively monetized walled gardens for everyone else. The Wild West is over. The coming years will favor the companies that can prove their systems are secure, compliant, and sustainable, rather than just the ones that can move the fastest.